Welcome to today's episode, where we have the privilege of featuring a pioneering advocate for patients' rights in a red state of Idaho. Jackie Winters is joining us today in this enlightening discussion where we will delve into Jackie's courageous journey as she fights for compassion in cannabis with Kind Idaho. She's advocating for the rights of patients to have safe access and effective medical cannabis. Jackie Winters has emerged as a trailblazer, fearlessly challenging the status quo and pushing for change in a conservative state. In the face of the significant challenges and opposition, Jackie has dedicated herself to championing the cause for compassionate care, striving to ensure that patients in Idaho have access to healing and potential of cannabis. And as an advocate, Jackie has been at the forefront of efforts to educate lawmakers and public about the benefits of medical cannabis, along with her own cause. Dispelling myths and misconceptions along her way, determination and unwavering commitment have paved the way for progress in a state where the conversation surrounding cannabis has traditionally been fraught with resistance. In this episode, we're going to explore Jackie's personal journey, the catalyst that ignited her passion for advocating patients' rights. We'll discuss the unique challenges that she faces in a red state and the strategies that are employed to overcome these barriers and affect change. Furthermore, we will examine the impact of her advocacy work on patients' lives and the broader implications for the advancement of compassionate care nationwide. So join us as we embark on this inspiring conversation with Jackie Winters, a true trailblazer who is transforming the landscape of healthcare in Idaho. So prepare to be inspired by her unwavering dedication, resilience, and commitment to ensuring that patients' voices are heard and their rights are protected. So without further ado, let us extend a warm welcome to Jackie Winters with Kind Idaho as we explore compassion in cannabis and fight for patients' rights in a red state. Welcome, Jackie. Thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you so much. What an honor to be here. I really appreciate this.
Oh, we appreciate you, and I can't thank you enough for what you are doing, because I know the challenge in all of the states of our nation. Idaho is the hardest, and we know that the fight there, that the patients don't have access, and what you're doing is genuinely, needed, and thank you for it.
Right. What I'm doing is trying to direct the people to the petition for the Idaho Medical Marijuana Act. Now, this is really my last attempt to get this on the petition and let the people decide in Idaho what they want. I feel like Idaho is starting to lose her voice, and there's lots of things that are being taken from us. And I would like the medical community of Idaho not to suffer anymore.
Yeah, thank you. Can you share with us what initially sparked your passion for advocating for patients' rights in context of medical cannabis in Idaho?
Absolutely. I truly started this mission in 1990. I was in a fatal car accident with my 2.5-year-old, and I got severely injured. The steering wheel went through my chest, extensive surgeries. I got a basilar skull fracture where they could see the crack in my ear all the way around. I had so many injuries. I had never had a broken bone until that moment. It was life-changing. And therefore, when my daughter passed away and I was left with many injuries, trying to figure out what in the world, how I was going to live my life. And in the meantime, the hospital was trying to give me opiates of all kinds for the extensive pain that I was having. And that is the point where I realized that I'm pretty much allergic to every opiate there is. And I really had to suffer with pain a lot. Chest tubes and stuff like that are very painful. Broken ribs, coughing, they make you do the cough therapy. All that was very painful to me because I wasn't able to medicate with opiates of any kind. I'm just absolutely allergic to it all. So basically, on with life. I got healed from that trauma experience, and I had a daughter And in 2008, I took my daughter for actually, I took her when she was 12, and she had headaches. I took her to a doctor who said that it was just puberty, not to worry. And so again, in 2008, when we were getting driver's ed, we realized that there was something wrong with her vision. And we took her to Salt Lake, and we found out that she had an optical glioma cancer tumor.
Oh,
And then
wow.
I did pretty severe. It took away her vision in her left eye. Whew, I did a lot of research and found out they had done medical studies with cannabis and were able to kill optical glioma tumors.
Oh, wow.
Therefore, and it's not in our state. I have been trying for several years to get people educated in Idaho, because it's not about getting high. It's truly medical. They have research that shows you
Yeah.
this, and there's no reason not to be on board. But basically, we've been fighting this. And in a different state, I was able to get some medication for her, and I'm going to call it Rick Simpson oil. And I was able to heal her for a time. And we just had an MRI recently. It's been about 6 years in remission, and it just had changed now. So it worked for a really long time. These kind of tumors sometimes do come back. We're hoping it doesn't. We're getting another MRI in 6 months. So my
Oh,
poor daughter's actually going to have had 3 MRIs in 1 year, and they run about $5,000 a piece. She's just
wow.
trying to get started on her own. It's a business for
Yeah.
Idaho, and they should let us have alternative treatments. She was so extremely sick from the chemo that I had to ask permission from the hospital to have an acupuncturist come in and do acupuncture.
Wow. Really?
I had to get special permission there. So you gotta be careful what you're doing there. So that was an ordeal. But my daughter, I honestly thought the year of chemo, I thought I was losing her. It was so horrible. And I seen these little children being pulled around in wagons, hooked up to chemo drips that looked horrible. It really wrenches your heart. And a lot of those children did not come off the ward. We were there a year, and after that, we thought it was going to be gone. And it came back even stronger. We had to do 6 weeks of radiation. We thought chemo was bad. The radiation burns holes through your body, and leaves sores to your mouth, and absolutely devastating to my child. Trying to get through school yet, high school, and then was told that she would not be able to graduate with her class. And
Oh,
I threw a fit. Yeah, because she was like 3 or 4 elective credits behind because of chemo.
oh
And
no.
so, yeah, I threw a fit, and it was put on the news. She did get to walk, and I
Oh,
got the best
good.
seats in the house because it was all over TV, with her classmates. So that was good. But it
Yeah.
never goes away. It's a lifetime of dealing with this. And basically, at age 13, they wanted her to be a zombie. She wanted to get out and work and have a life and make her own way, which she's doing now. But I can tell you, the first thing in Idaho, they like to give you opiates. It's their
Yeah.
way of dealing with pain and grief. So, seeing my child zombified, I studied even more about cannabis and realized different kinds of cannabis. There's basically something for everything that you have.
Yeah.
It just depends on what you get. It's like a pharmaceutical because it's medicine.
Right.
And so, we're on a journey, and I would really like it to become legal in Idaho so that people like me, or the lady down the street, or whomever, does not have to be a criminal in their own state.
Yeah,
I've lived through it all my
absolutely.
life. Yeah. And it's not just me, it's grandma and grandpa who are going to Oregon, but they don't want to be criminals, so they decide to eat the edibles and then travel back to Idaho. That's
Wow.
happening.
Right.
Yeah,
We're
I've
putting
been,
patients at risk just
they
to,
are putting
yeah.
patients at risk. Absolutely. And I know a man recently that contacted me who was traveling through another Idaho state, just traveling through, and was pretty much profiled and stopped. They took his medicine and now want to put him in jail for 15 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the
Oh my
guy doesn't
goodness.
even drive, he's in a wheelchair.
Oh my goodness.
He had a
Wow.
medical card in a different state, and
And
that
they're not
shouldn't be allowed.
acknowledging it.
Yeah, he has a medical card in a different state that should
Oh,
be exempt.
it
Right.
should. It should. Because no
It's
matter
not
what state you go into, you are still the same. Your body is still the same. And it doesn't matter where you're at, what border you cross. You know,
absolutely. And the thing about that is Idaho is so, in some states, or excuse me, only in Idaho, in some cities, they turn their head and look away. They
yeah.
don't bother you at all. And then in other cities in the same state, they are just like following you around town and on you, profiling. It's not consistent in Idaho. We want to know where we stand. We want a medical program in Idaho that we can trust and get quality medicine. I'm not asking for recreational kind. Idaho wants to make Idaho a
Yes.
better place by helping the people that are suffering.
Yes,
And that's
absolutely.
what
And
we're trying to do.
it's needed. We can decriminalize it. That's great. Even that's a step forward to decriminalize, but until it seems like we need an accountability system that's across the board legit. And I feel like until we are taking this off federally, we're not going to get anywhere. You know,
Exactly.
it's
And
like
and it's my understanding that they might do that this year, which I'm so hoping, because two of the reasons, governor doesn't want it, Governor Little doesn't want it in our state. Well, he says we have a surplus of money,
oh,
which, yeah, there's
oh
homeless
yeah,
veterans. There's actually homeless veterans in my city that I'm living in right now that are really struggling, and they don't have medicine to get through their post-traumatic stress disorder.
right.
Right. And then the other one was, it's not federally legal. So my thought is, if it federally gets legal quickly, that Idaho might have a different stance.
Yeah, and it's really, really important that we have access across the board that's accountable, that all patients have safe access. A lot of people get fooled in the regulation. I mean, even our compassionate care programs in California have been altered because we chose to go recreational. I've always just hoped that Idaho would see the medicinal benefits and really stick to medical. I stand for medical because I stand for compassionate care. I stand for patients, and what you get into a dispensary is not patient quality. It's not patient stand, like a patient needs maybe high doses, 2 3 grams of oil, on a regular basis. They need more than what you're even allowed to have in a dispensary. You're going to be cut off at a percentage rate when you need that high THC. And for, the THCs are one, a cannabinoid, but we also have all the beautiful cannabinoids that again come from that plant. I mean, someone might do better with CBG and need some CBN, versus THC, or maybe they get
Exactly.
a little uncomfortable with THC, and there is other ways of administering. And,
Exactly.
it's
It's
not
a
about,
perfection. It's a prescription. It's to perfection made for you and what
yeah,
your needs are.
yes. I mean,
People don't
even if
understand that.
yeah, all the way down to those who are smoking, like strain specific matters. Not everything can ease an ailment, but you might need this strain over here, but you can't get that here. The government cannot provide holistically in a way that our bodies and the way we need to. And that's the part I want to emphasize too. Like, this is medication for a patient. I recommend everybody, but for Idaho, if there are people tuning in, this is what it looks like to medicate. This is what it looks like to medicate when we are medicating,
Absolutely, which is
the
a
patient.
super good point because, yes, We need to let them know there's other ways to administer. I have a friend who has a disabled daughter, and she was wondering how she was going to get her to smoke a joint. Well, there's so many
Yeah,
other ways to administer. It's not about smoking anymore. It's
yeah,
like
it's
she's
really,
got oil in a
yeah,
syringe, and that oil you only take just the tiniest drop, like a grain of rice,
yeah.
3 times, maybe twice a day, and that is medicine.
Yeah, all the way down to suppositories, like we're using cannabis oil in suppositories. You can put it into a salve for those who don't want no psychoactives, but maybe you got arthritis. I mean, I hear arthritis is painful. I have friends that can't move, from MS. I mean, this topically, it works. You can put it into your belly button, the bottoms of your feet. And even for me, we all, yes, we're all patients. All use is medical use, but at the same time, when you do meet that patient who has epilepsy or who is autistic or in a wheelchair with cerebral palsy, I mean, these are real factors down to a patient who has a tumor in their brain. It is a pea size of this, and it is the full plant extract. Like, you can't just take part of it. Sometimes you really need every endocannabinoid. So I hope that those who are tuning in really can do as you did and really educate yourself and learn about the benefits of cannabis. As an advocate in a red state, what are some of the unique challenges that you have faced in promoting compassionate care and safe access to medical cannabis, and how have you navigated these challenges?
Well, because people are so comfortable with going to our surrounding states to get their medicine, they may not want to sign putting their name on a paper with their address. It's a legal form, and you have to be a registered voter in Idaho. They think that it's not going to do any difference. It won't matter. And the thing is, it matters a great deal. We have to get a certain percentage in Idaho to get it on the ballot. And then you can vote no, or you can vote yes, you can vote whatever, but at least get it to the ballot. That's what we're asking for. And let Idaho decide if they want it or not.
Yeah,
I'm just an advocate for the people. I'm challenging our other surrounding states. I have someone in Washington and Oregon. I need the rest of them to stand up and help Idaho get theirs. We may be last or not at all if we don't get this turned in 2024 with the right amount of signatures.
absolutely. And, I don't know for anybody who does know, but, when it comes to red states and green states, what would happen if whenever there's states and they all have the same law and they connect, that opens up interstate commerce. And that's just a whole other, you know, can of worms that we're going to open when this does pass. Can you share with us maybe more about what Kind Idaho is doing, what you've done, and what you might offer to people who are interested in advocating with you?
Yes, basically we've been educating our Idaho people. I've got several voted registered to vote. So that would, if you're not registered to vote, they do it online now at idahovotes.gov. You can go on there and register with your ID. It takes about 5 minutes, and then you can sign the petition, and it makes a huge difference in Idaho. You can go to our website and check out some stories of our patients in Idaho that suffer and need medical marijuana. It's kindidaho.org. You can also see what we're doing, where we're going to go next for petition signings. We got events coming. We also have, Kind Idaho 1 for Instagram and Kind Idaho on Facebook. I have a TikTok. It's under my name. I do Kind Idaho stuff on there as well.
Awesome.
It's getting kind of fun. We also have Twitter. Just put in Kind Idaho. You can find us all over the internet. This is huge. You're going to want to be a part of this. We're making history in Idaho. Let's just get it to the ballot and let's see what happens, because I'm very hopeful that Idaho is definitely going to want medical marijuana.
Yeah, I've met a lot of patients throughout the state of Idaho. I can stand along beside you and agree. I'll be at the forefronts. Idaho matters. Patients matter in all states, and I have a heart for Idaho. I love Idaho. I've met so many fantastic people and people who need oil. They need sublinguals. They're not looking to smoke weed. They're not looking to get high. I would hope to destigmatize that perception in Idaho to really open up. I know that there's been a few representatives who have stood up for the use. I mean, granted, when I did see it coming forth, they wanted patients to have like a neurological exam to prove that you had neurological problems to even use the cannabis oil. I
Wow.
mean, it was a good step. I'm glad that she advocated. I'm forgetting her name off the top of my head right now, but I went up to Idaho City a couple times to meet her and see her and like get to know this representative. I don't believe she got the position. Obviously, I know she didn't based on who's sitting, but it's really powerful. Meeting patients is powerful. I mean, we can all look around. We all have somebody we know probably that could use some relief. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's mornings that honestly in Idaho, I can't even walk. The arthritis that I have now is so
Oh my
painful.
goodness.
I do a lot of crawling in the morning to
Yeah.
get warmed up because you got to keep mobile. And when you sleep for several hours, you get stiff. So, things of life that I'm learning now that are, I never thought I'd make it this far, but I have about 20 good years left and I want to enjoy it. I want to have no pain and live freely, Come on, Idaho. It's time.
Right? Can you tell us maybe, I don't know if you're open or if not, if you're not comfortable, please no, you don't have to answer anything, but is there a regimen of how you have taken care of yourself to get better that you could share with us?
Um, right. So I'll go to a different state to medicate, which isn't always consistent. It's only about 40 minutes away, 45 minutes. So it's easy access there. It's not against the law, and the world doesn't shake apart when I get there or arrive or make a purchase and go out you know, and take an edible. It doesn't fall apart.
Yeah.
Everyone's normal, simple people. We're actually pretty mellow, and I'll go for a weekend and stay and relax, rejuvenate, and come back to Idaho to fight some more. Um,
And it's amazing that we're putting patients into this position. More than anything, I can't emphasize on like, whoa, like we're making patients leave the state. We're making patients get on opiates because they have no other choice. Like,
exactly, and we also live in a state where it's illegal to have THC in your blood.
what?
So, right, when I went to the emergency for my gallbladder, before I even knew they had taken my blood and tested it for drugs and knew that I had smoked or something, something THC in my
Wow.
body. And I said, yeah, I had some edibles. I just was in Oregon last weekend, Um, they could have if they wanted to pursue it, but it's ridiculous because it's all around us. It's all around
Wow.
us.
A patient isn't even safe to go to healthcare because they could test your blood and you not even know, and therefore you would be set up as a criminal.
Absolutely. You can lose your
Oh my
job,
God.
you can lose your kids. We've had people move out of Idaho that have almost lost their children. It's unnecessary. It's for a plant.
Wow. And that's why we're doing this and speaking up. And to everybody tuning in, listen, speak up,
I, I
be
have
part of
people
the.
every day trying to contact me that have been arrested in Idaho for, having marijuana in their state, in this state. So asking me to help. Well, I wish I could reach out to everyone. I have some people that are calling me because they have stage 4 cancer. They don't know what to do. I do have some recommendations, and I have others that I can turn you to so you can get help. But basically, what I'm doing is reaching out in my communities, talking, educating, and getting signatures for the ballot. I'm so
That
excited because I know
part.
this year it's gonna happen. People are really on board. We're
Yeah.
getting a chance to have a documentary made shortly. We're also going to have a couple fundraisers. So this is all great
Yeah.
news. It's going to be on Heart TV, but I don't know exactly the airing yet. They're coming
Please keep us
next month
posted.
to
We
do a
want to
documentary.
let's air this. Yeah. I'm excited to see this. There was another documentary too, Hope Vetoed. If you guys really want to see another one where there was a child with epilepsy and they did bring the bill and it got vetoed. And so it's really
Oh,
powerful story. Idaho freedom fighters are part of that story. They did a documentary on it well, and it just goes to show that patient safe access is needed. We're
it,
setting patients up for to be a criminal. And I mean, we got to go. I mean, the young man that you shared with us who's in Washington, who's in a wheelchair, who's looking to face charges through the state of
right.
Idaho. Like,
They have
yeah, this
putting a
is the
warrant
time.
out for him.
Oh, let's uprise, let's get a hold of some fighters, let's advocate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, keep me posted and we will follow that up and make sure that these prisoners, I mean, this is a patient who's a prisoner of war of Idaho. He is going to be needing a fight. None of this plant came without a fight. Compassionate care under 215 in California was a fight. Dennis Perone and a number of others went to jail over and over and over for this. And it's insane how many prisoners are actually still locked up in our system today because of cannabis. Yet here we are in other states collecting taxes off of it. Tax and regulation. That's all
Right,
it policy. Tax and
right.
regulation.
And we're spending about 3 million a week on border towns and even
Wow.
more on weekends. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
Idaho people, you guys. That's Idaho
Wow.
people.
Oh my gosh. This is a fight that I hope everybody is tuning into and ready to stand up for. Show up, be there. And it's more important if you're a resident in Idaho and you stand for compassionate care, you know patients, you meet patients, please stand up for those patients. Those patients may not always be able to show up. And that's the part I can't
Or have a
emphasize enough
voice.
is that
Right.
child in that wheelchair isn't showing up. That mother's taking care of her kid. Like it's a necessary. I mean, we're sending patients to other states to get medicated and to handle their care. Like, I just can't thank you enough, Jackie, for everything you're doing. What strategies or approaches have you found the most effective in educating the public about the benefits of medical cannabis and trying to dispel this misconception surrounding it?
Well, basically, my own story helped a great deal. We made this little pamphlet, and it has information. It basically, for me, it was it's like a light flipped on. It just made so much sense, and I understood it completely. I'm not a biologist, but it was very easy to retain and understand why this works for people and how we get it when we're first born in our mother's breast milk, or
Yes.
maybe we're not breastfed, so we don't get it. We're depleted. And it made such a great deal of difference in my life that I have to share my journey and I have to bring others along. I want Idaho to not be the cruel state. I'd like us not to be the last state, but we have to do something here. We have to fight and get this to the ballot. We have to.
Yeah, absolutely. We're taking away the human right, the constitutional right to health and well being. That matters. Our health and wellness matter. And no matter what state or where we're at, it's going to be the same. I've said this over and over because that's all I can, like, come on. I mean, there's a logic that's being overlooked here due to the American corporation. It's really I'm like a bummer to be really gentle about it, like can't emphasize enough on how important it is to understand that patient care is what is needed. And that is why we're doing these compassion and cannabis stories is so that people can maybe hear patient stories, versus just the news of what we know of the propaganda, what we know of dispensaries and recreational through watching it through the states. I hope that Idaho, because Idaho hasn't set these policies yet, I hope that these policies are really read clearly understood. And I really hope that Idaho makes a way for compassionate care and safe access for patients. Like, it's beyond important. What advice or message do you have for other advocates who are fighting for patient rights in red states? And what lessons have you learned along your journey that you would like to share?
Well, I can tell you this, just getting out there and letting people know your story or tell you their story, connecting with my community has made a huge difference in my life. Not have I only gained knowledge from everyone that I've experienced. Oh, sorry, I'm going to get emotional. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to carry this petition in Idaho and get them on board and let them know that I'm here to support their stories and what they need. I'm fighting for their rights. Kind Idaho is all about giving the patient what they need, advocacy, and we're all standing. There's several of us, and we just need you to know that we're out here. Kind Idaho is out here.
Yes. So if you are in Idaho, feel free to reach out, join the advocacy group, become part of the compassionate advocacy of Idaho, because it really does matter. Jackie, I really can't thank you enough for being a pioneer in Kind Idaho. I know that it's not an easy step. I know there's a lot of persecution, judgment, and propaganda that you've been fight up against, even with your own story with your daughter. Like, wow, blessed be, blessed be that we have the information to educate ourselves about plant medicine and holistic healing. I mean, it matters. You matter. She matters. I mean, that's directly to your family. That's directly you, and you're in a spot where you don't have access. Your daughter don't have
Absolutely.
access to continue to
And
take
we
the
all
preventative
deserve safe
measures.
access in Idaho.
Yeah,
We all deserve that.
absolutely. That's the least we can ask for. We could ask for our voices to be heard in a state. And so that's what we should just keep showing up. And thank you. I'm going to go ahead and Jackie, I thank you again for your time, your story, you, and everything that you're doing, because it matters. It matters more than
Thank you
ever.
so much for having me. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good
So
day.
don't go off yet. I'm going to go ahead and
Oh,
wrap this
okay.
up.
Oh,
We're
sure.
going to end this to an enlightening conversation. We extend our sincerest gratitude to Jackie Winters of Kind Idaho for her invaluable insights, tireless advocacy, and unwavering dedication to fighting for patient rights in Idaho's challenging red state environment. Jackie's pioneering spirit and courageous efforts have paved the way for the progress in the realm of compassionate care and safe access to medical cannabis. Her unwavering commitment to educating lawmakers, dispelling misconceptions, and amplifying the voices of patients is undoubtedly transforming lives and fostering more compassionate healthcare landscape. We commend you again, Jackie, for your resilience, perseverance, and the positive impact you have made on the lives of countless individuals. Your passion for patients' rights serves as an inspiration to advocates across the country, demonstrating that change is possible even in the face of adversity. And everyone, please keep fighting. And on
Yes.
behalf of our listeners and the entire community, I want to share, I want to express our deepest gratitude for sharing your time and your experiences with us, and keep advocating for the work that continues to pave the way for compassionate care and patients' rights, leaving a lasting impact on the lives in need. So join us next time as we continue to explore stories of compassion, advocacy, and innovation in a world of cannabis. Thank you and be blessed and stay tuned.